Jai Shri Shri Radha Madhava Ki Jai. Can someone grab that other stand? Thanks, Tom. The book stand, just the normal one, yeah. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. So today we're reading from Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 3, Chapter 25, verses 39 and 40. If I can have your permission, we might just chant the first sloka because we're already quite behind time, normal time of class with the Dhammarasam. So we'll just say the first 4 lines there and then we'll go on. Imam lokam tataivamum Atmanam ubayayinam Atmanam manuyecheha Ye raiha pasavo griha Imam lokam tataivamum Atmanam ubayayinam Atmanam manuyecheha Ye rayaha pasavo griha. Devotees. Imam lokam tataivamum Atmanam ubayayinam Atmanam manuyecheha Ye raiha pasavo griha. Ladies. Imam lokam tatevamum Atmanam ubayayinam Manam manuyecheha Ye raya pasavo griha. Imam lokam tataivamum Atmanam ubayayinam Atmanam manuyecheha Ye raya pasavo griha. Imam, this, lokam, world, tata, accordingly, eva, certainly, amum, that world, atmanam, the subtle body, ubaya, in both, ainam, traveling, atmanam, the body, anu, in relationship with, ye, those who, cha, also, iha, in this world, ye, that which, raya, wealth, pashava, cattle, griha, houses, visrijja, having given up, sarvan, all, anyan, other, cha, and mam, me, evam, thus, vishvata mukham, the all-pervading Lord of the universe, bhajanti, they worship, ananyaya, unflinching, bhaktya, by devotional service, tan, them, mrityoho, of death, atipareye, I take to the other side. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada, Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. Thus, the devotee who worships me, the all-pervading Lord of the universe, in unflinching devotional service, gives up all aspirations to be promoted to heavenly planets or to become happy in this world with wealth, children, cattle, home, or anything in relationship with the body. I take him to the other side of birth and death. Please repeat. Thus the devotee who worships me, the all-pervading Lord of the universe, in unflinching devotional service, gives up all aspirations to be promoted to heavenly planets or to become happy in this world with wealth, children, cattle, home, or anything in relationship with the body. I take him to the other side of birth and death. Unflinching devotional service, as described in these two verses, means engaging oneself in full Krishna consciousness or devotional service, accepting the Supreme Lord as all in all. Since the Supreme Lord is all-inclusive, if anyone worships Him with unflinching faith, he has automatically achieved all other opulences and performed all other duties. The Lord promises herein that He takes His devotee to the other side of birth and death. Lord Chaitanya therefore recommended that one who aspires to go beyond birth and death should have no material possessions. This means that one should not try to be happy in this world or to be promoted to the heavenly world, nor should he try for material wealth, children, houses, or cattle. How liberation is imperceptibly achieved by a pure devotee and what the symptoms are have been explained. For the conditioned soul, there are two statuses of living. One status is in the present life, and the other is our preparation for the next life. If I'm in the mode of goodness, then I may be preparing for promotion to the higher planets. If I'm in the mode of passion, then I shall remain here in a society where activity is very prominent. And if I'm in the mode of ignorance, I may be degraded to animal life or a lower grade of human life. But for a devotee, there is no concern for this life or the next life, because in any life, he does not desire elevation in material prosperity or a high grade or low grade life. He prays to the Lord, "My dear Lord, it does not matter where I am born, but let me be born, even as an ant, in the house of a devotee." A pure devotee does not pray to the Lord for liberation from this material bondage. Actually, the pure devotee never thinks that he is fit for liberation. Considering his past life and his mischievous activities, he thinks that he is fit to be sent to the lowest regions of hell. If in this life I am trying to become a devotee, this does not mean that in my many past lives I was 100% pious. That is not possible. A devotee is therefore always conscious of his real position. Only by his full surrender to the Lord, by the Lord's grace, are his sufferings made shorter. As stated in Bhagavad Gita, "Surrender unto me, and I will give you protection from all kinds of sinful reaction." That is His mercy. But this does not mean that one who has surrendered to the lotus feet of the Lord has committed no misdeeds in his past life. A devotee always prays, "For my misdeeds, may I be born again and again, but my only prayer is that I may not forget your service." The devotee has that much mental strength, and he prays to the Lord, "May I be born again and again, but let me be born in the home of your pure devotee, so that I may again get a chance to develop myself." A pure devotee is not anxious to elevate himself in his next birth. He has already given up that sort of hope. In any life in which one is born, as a householder or even as an animal, One must have some children, some resources, some possessions. But a devotee is not anxious to possess anything. He is satisfied with whatever is obtainable by God's grace. He is not at all attached to improving his social status or improving the status of education of his children. He is not neglectful, he is dutiful, but he does not spend too much time on the upliftment of temporary household or social life. He fully engages in the service of the Lord, and for other affairs he simply spares as much time as absolutely necessary. Yatarham upayunjataha. Such a pure devotee does not care for what is going to happen in the next life or in this life. He does not care even for family, children, or society. He fully engages in the service of the Lord in Krishna consciousness. It is stated in Bhagavad Gita that without the knowledge of the devotee, the Lord arranges for him to be immediately transferred to the Lord's transcendental abode, just after he leaves his body. After quitting his body, he does not go into the womb of another mother. The ordinary common living entity after death is transferred to the womb of another mother, according to his karma or activities, to take another type of body. But as far as the devotee is concerned, he is at once transferred to the spiritual world in the association of the Lord. That is the Lord's special mercy. How it is possible is explained in the following verses. Because he is all-powerful, the Lord can do anything and everything. He can excuse all sinful reactions. He can immediately transfer a person to Vaikuntha Loka. That is the inconceivable power of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, who is favorably disposed to the pure devotees. Jai Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Om Jnana Timirandhasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshu Unmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. So, why does a devotee not desire liberation? This is a question that comes up and is talked about at length in these 3 verses by Lord Kapila Dev. So today we're going to look at 4 aspects of this from the purport and also from other teachings that Srila Prabhupada has given us. The 4 aspects are this. I'll give them first and then we can go through them one by one. The first is that out of humility, a devotee thinks that they're not qualified for liberation. The second one is, liberation is a state of life that relates to one's own happiness and not the happiness of the Lord. Number 3, love of Krishna includes liberation. If one tries to get love of Krishna, then liberation is included, but the converse is not necessarily true. And number 4, pure devotees only want to associate and give love to Bhagavan Sri Krishna, the Supreme Personality of Godhead in Vrindavan. And we'll also talk a little bit about how this point relates to our own service as beginning devotees. So number 1, out of humility he thinks that he is not qualified for liberation. In the purport that we just read, Srila Prabhupada says, a pure devotee does not pray to the Lord for liberation from this material bondage. Actually, the pure devotee never thinks that he is fit for liberation. Considering his past life and his mischievous activities, he thinks that he is fit to be sent to the lowest region of hell. If in this life I am trying to become a devotee, this does not mean that in my many past lives I was 100% pious. That is not possible. A devotee is therefore always conscious of his real position. So due to the humility of the devotee thinks that he has no qualification, she has no qualification, there is nothing that they deserve, and in fact the devotee feels like they deserve to be punished in hell, as Prabhupada is saying here, for all their impious activities. So we can see that this is a very different consciousness to the consciousness of a materialistic person. You see, materialistic persons are very averse to finding faults in themselves, and they're very averse to finding, taking responsibility for their own suffering, that generally it's somebody else's fault. And today, more and more, as years go by, this materialistic conception is there more and more. But we see the consciousness or the state of mind of a pure devotee is being explained here by Srila Prabhupada, that actually the devotee, he doesn't even feel like he deserves liberation. The devotee may have done that we don't. I think it was commented yesterday, we remember it the same thing. It's okay, it's not a problem. So Srila Prabhupada is giving us the mentality of a pure devotee. They may have done decades of service, but they're not thinking, oh, I deserve this, I deserve this. Actually, we can see that as, we can judge our mentality also again. Srila Prabhupada is giving us these very, very practical judgments, and how we can understand on ourselves how consciousness is going, that the more we are thinking that we are deserving of so many things and everything is everyone else's fault, then we're heading towards the materialistic consciousness. And the more that we're thinking that I don't deserve anything, actually, in fact I deserve to be punished or neglected by the Lord for the many years, the many lifetimes that I have turned away from the Lord, then we are aligning ourselves more with the spiritual standpoint. Right? So this is the first point, that the pure devotee doesn't even think that they're qualified for liberation. So what to speak of praying for that and saying, oh, please free me from this, please give me liberation. The pure devotee is not even thinking that they deserve it. The second point, liberation is a state of life that is related to the devotee's own happiness. We know we have the concept of sambandha, abhidaya, prayojana. The sambandha here is the person's own happiness. But we see the sambandha of the pure devotees is Krishna's happiness. Therefore the sambandha, or the relationship, the field is set up that how can Krishna be happy, the relationship, and therefore the activities are to try to make Krishna happy, and the goal is that Krishna's happy, Krishna's happiness. So we see that in many nice examples are here. We'll give a few examples here. Vasudeva Datta, a very exalted devotee of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So he was praying to Lord that please give all of the sinful activities of all the living entities, put them on my head so they can be relieved and they can go back to Godhead. And I'll go to hell, no problem, but I'll be essentially saying, I'll be happy doing that because I will have fulfilled the desire of the Lord, of you, Lord Chaitanya, to liberate all living. So he was praying like this to Lord Chaitanya, and Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu said, you've won my heart by this feeling that you're not trying to get liberation yourself, but you're trying to please the Lord by liberating everybody else, and you don't even care if you go to hell. So therefore, of course, I will fulfill this desire, liberate all living entities, and of course you first. You're number one. So it's said in Chaitanya Bhagavat that Krishna Kirtan Prabhu very mercifully bestowed upon me. It said that even anybody who was touched by the air, by the breeze that had touched the body of Vasudeva Datta was protected by Krishna. This is a statement of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So not only Krishna protects that one who is just trying to please him and fulfill his desires, Krishna's desires, but in the case of Vasudeva Datta, he even protects those whose body was touched by the air that blew past the body of that person. So very a deep truth. Prahlad Maharaj also, he said a similar thing. When he was asked by Lord Nrsimhadev, what benediction would you like? He said, for myself, I have no need. I'm always thinking of your holy name, form, pastimes and activities. But I'm only worried about everyone else in the universe. How will they be delivered? We can see that Srila Prabhupada said a few times that the relationship of the mother and the child is perhaps the closest thing to spiritual love, because quite selfless. It's not exactly spiritual love, but it's the closest thing we can see in terms of a material relationship. And we see that this relationship between the mother and the child, the mother is just completely concerned about the child's welfare. There's many examples of that, where the mothers have put their own welfare and their own health on the line to save the baby, to protect the baby. So even in this world, we can see that this kind of a mood is there. This is a reflection of this kind of mood. In the same vein of this same kind of mood, Vaisheshika Prabhu said once that when Srila Prabhupada left the planet, him and another book distributor were about to go out, and they kind of thought, I don't know if we can go out. We haven't, we've heard this news of Prabhupada's leaving, so we're so distraught. And they both decided, no, actually today's the day we have to go out. And he said as soon as he hit the floor of the airport and he started distributing Prabhupada's books, he realized actually he's with Prabhupada. He's with Prabhupada completely. And he said that some devotees who were dependent on the personal association of Prabhupada struggled to some degree after Prabhupada's physical form left. But because their connection was always through service and trying to please Prabhupada through their service, they never lost that connection with Srila Prabhupada. This is a similar kind of a mood that the devotee, like the disciple doesn't want to just be with the spiritual master, but the disciple wants to please the spiritual master, wants to serve the spiritual master's mission, wants to make the spiritual master happy by what is the spiritual master trying to achieve spiritually. So the disciple wants to do that, and there's a higher taste and a high level of bhakti than just wanting to be with the spiritual master. One time Srila Prabhupada joked, so many mosquitoes are with him, but weren't necessarily pleasing him. So this is another example. And of course we've been singing every day wonderfully this Dhammarasikan prayers. Sadly, tomorrow will be the last day for this year. But we know in verse 4 and 7, we just read out here. O Lord, although you are able to give all kinds of benedictions, I do not pray to you for the boon of impersonal liberation, nor even the highest liberation of eternal life in Vaikuntha, nor any other boon which may be obtained by executing the 9 processes of bhakti. O Lord, I simply wish that this form of yours is Bala Gopal. Bala means little child Krishna form we have here. May be ever manifest in my heart. What is the use to me of any other boon besides this? So again, the devotee is praying that simply to please the Lord, to remember the Lord, but whether he's in Vaikuntha or in the material world doesn't matter. These are external considerations. O Lord Damodar, just as the 2 sons of Kavera were delivered from the curse of Narada, made into great devotees for you, please give me your own prema bhakti. I only long for this and have no desire for any kind of liberation. In talks between Ramananda Roy and Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, Madhya-lila, chapter 8, I think, text 207, there is an inexplicable fact about the natural inclination of the gopis. The gopis never want to enjoy themselves with Krishna personally. The happiness of the gopis increases 10 million times when they serve to engage Sri Sri Radha and Krishna in their transcendental pastimes. By nature, Srimati Radharani is just like a creeper of love of Godhead, and the gopis are the twigs, flowers, and leaves of that creeper. When the nectar of Krishna's pastimes is sprinkled on that creeper, the happiness derived by the twigs, flowers, and leaves is 10 million times greater than that derived by the creeper itself. Once Krishna was in Dwarka and he feigned having a headache, and Narada Muni was asking what he needs. He said, try bring the doctors. The doctors couldn't do anything. So he said, if you bring some dust from the lotus feet of my devotees, then I will be cured. So of course most of us know this story, that he went to the queens of Dwarka, and the queens are like, give dust on Krishna's head. He's a supreme personality of Godhead. I'll go to hell. No way, I can't do that. Like this, he went around so many devotees. And finally Krishna said, you go to the gopis, Vrindavan. So he went and he asked. And they said, dust, how much dust do you want? How many bags do you need? And he said, well, you sure that you're going to go to hell? That's what all the other devotees said. Gopis said, we don't care. We'll go to hell 1,000,000 times. If Krishna's happy, that is our happiness. So this is the mood of the topmost examples of devotional service. Didn't worry about anything to do with himself, but simply wanted to please Krishna. So number 3 is that love of Krishna includes liberation. If one tries to know and love Krishna, then liberation is included. And in fact, the process of real liberation is to serve Krishna. So a few points on this. Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur said, don't try to see God, but act so he will want to see you. Again, don't try to get into the kingdom of God. Don't try to want to go there to be with God, but try to act in such a way that God will want to see you. And then naturally you'll be with God, because His desire is supreme. So what is our desire to want to be God compared to God's desire to want to... Sorry, did I say that? I didn't mean that. I said, what is our desire to want to be with God compared to God's desire to want to be with us? If we can incite and attract God's desire to want to be with us, then we will be with God, undoubtedly. Krishna. Krishna says, Bhagavad Gita 12:6-7, but those who worship me, giving up all their activities unto me and being devoted to me without deviation, engaged in devotional service and always meditating on me, having fixed their minds upon me, O son of Pritha, for them I am the swift deliverer from the ocean of birth and death. So again, this is coming first. Always engaged in devotional service, always meditating on Krishna, fixing their minds on Krishna, worshipping me, giving up all their activities unto me. Then Krishna, swift deliverer from the ocean of birth and death. In Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu, it's a chapter called Pure Devotional Service Surpasses Liberation. In the 9th canto of Bhagavatam, 4th chapter, verse 67, the Lord of Vaikuntha replies to Devarsa Muni thus, my pure devotees are always satisfied being engaged in devotional service, and therefore they do not aspire even after the 5 liberated stages, which are 1, to be one with me, 2, to achieve residence on my planet, 3, to have my opulences, 4, to possess bodily features similar to mine, and 5, to gain personal association with me. So when they're not interested even in these liberated positions, you can know how little they care for material opulences or material liberation. And in the 11th canto of Srimad Bhagavatam, this is again from it's from Nectar of Devotion, so of course, summary study of Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu, Nectar of Devotion by Srila Prabhupada. This quote is also given. In the 11th canto of Srimad Bhagavatam, 20th chapter, verse 34, Lord Krishna says to Uddhava, my dear Uddhava, the devotees who have completely taken shelter of my service are so steadfast in devotional service that they have no other desire. Even if they are offered the 4 kinds of spiritual opulences, they will refuse to accept them, So what to speak of their desiring anything within the material world? And the fourth point here is that pure devotees are only interested in loving Krishna, the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Out of many kinds of devotees to the Supreme Personality of Godhead, the one who is attracted to the original form of the Lord, Krishna in Vrindavan, is considered to be the foremost first-class devotee. Such a devotee is never attracted by the opulence of Vaikuntha or even Dwaraka, the royal city where Krishna rules. The conclusion of Sri Rupa Goswami is that the devotees who are attracted by the pastimes of the Lord in Gokul or Vrindavan are the topmost devotees. So this is another aspect that devotees, pure devotees, Shuddha Bhaktas of Krishna, they might be in the material world, but if they're given the liberation to go to Vaikuntha, to have the same form as the Lord, to live on the same planet as the Lord, they're actually not getting the association of Krishna. So in that sense, they prefer to stay in this world, well, they don't care, this world, that world, whatever, but they want Krishna's association. It's like we're reading, we read the form of Balagopal. Let me always remember that form of Krishna as a baby. That is their goal. That is their desired goal. Therefore, to get the liberation, to go to Vaikuntha and be with Narayan and all these things, they're not interested in that because they have the goal and they have the association of Krishna in Vrindavan, Krishna Balaram, Radha Krishna in Vrindavan. So I might leave it there and ask some questions or comments. Oh, sorry, yeah, I said I was going to and I didn't. So these are four. Now there may be more. This is not by an acharyas, this is just my looking at these things. Out of humility, he thinks he's not qualified for liberation. It's in the purport. Liberation is a status of life that relates to one's own happiness, not Krishna's happiness. So pure devotees are not thinking of, how can I be happy, get liberated from this and go and live in Vaikuntha, I'll be very happy and nice. They're not interested in that. They're interested in what is Krishna's happiness. So liberation is actually still related to their own position. The third one is that love of Krishna includes liberation. So if one tries to get love of Krishna, then one automatically gets liberated. The Lord has said that He'll give liberation to one who's fully devoted to Him. But if we try for liberation, we may not get love of Krishna. We may get some kind of liberation, but we may... So the focus for devotees is trying for love of Godhead. Prema Pumatamahan, fifth goal. And liberation is anyway included. And the fourth one is that pure devotees only want associating with, they want to give love to Krishna. Krishna in Vrindavan, they don't want to go to a place where there's the moods of awe and reverence, although it's beyond all material suffering. Is the form of the Lord is there, the opulence, everything is there, but still the relationship with Krishna. We know the gopis, when they met Krishna in Kurukshetra, then they said this essentially to Krishna, that, you have this big crown on your head and everything's like this. And it's nice to see you, but really we'd want to see you in that intimate setting of Vrindavan, where all the pastimes, the very familiar pastimes are going on. Okay, those are the four. Yes, Pitambara.
The 5 types of liberation, I'm thinking, I don't know if I haven't read a lot more about them, but they seem like they may overlap, because if you were in the association of the Lord, you'd think you'd have the opulences of the Lord and the residence and the bodily form. Do you know? Yeah. Can you speak on that?
All I could say was that might be the focus for the person. Like, that's their focus, that they're thinking, oh, I'll go to that place, Vaikuntha, it's just kind of the place where the Lord lives, and then, oh, I'll have a form like the Lord, like 4 arms and beautiful garb, you know, or what's the other one? Associate, yeah, I'll be able to be with the Lord, and He's walking, and I'll be there and fanning Him, and so you're right. They're all combined, essentially, this Vaikuntha atmosphere. So that's all I can say, unless somebody else has some other insight into that. Any other question or comment?
Thank you for the class, Rabbi. Maybe I missed some few points in context, but when you quoted that the devotees, those who are attracted to hear the pastimes in Gokul Vrindavan are the topmost devotees. And I was wondering, because Prabhupada didn't really in favor for us who, when we want to go deep into this pastime of Gopi in Vrindavan. And also there's a like incident in the US somewhere, and Gopi Club something, he wasn't really favorable. So I understand it was from the context of devotees who we only want to associate with the Krishna, but how do we understand that the point of they are topmost devotees, whereas Prabhupada wasn't really in favor?
How do we understand that the topmost devotees? Or how do we understand
how do you understand the quote?
How do you understand how we should apply that? Is that the question more?
How do you understand the quote on devotees?
To not just
they are those devotees who want to hear the pastime in Gokul Vrindavan are topmost devotees. So how do you understand that quote? Because Prabhupada said different things.
Well, he always said they're the topmost devotees. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu said they're the topmost devotees. If you read that Madhya Lila, chapter 8, I think it's chapter 8, talks between Ramananda Roy and Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. That's like 300 verses there that describes this point in great detail. He starts from just, Varnashram, following Varnashram is good, and da-da-da. And Lord Chaitanya just says, can I hear more, can I hear more? And he comes to this point. Like those verses we just read were verses 207 to 210. So there's 200 and something, and there's more verses after, explaining why the residents of Vrindavan are the topmost devotees. And this other story we gave, that all of the other devotees, even the queens of Dwarka, they wouldn't give their foot to us because they were worried about going to hell. But to the gopis, they're just like, hell, heaven, whatever. If Krishna's happy, we're in heaven. If Krishna's sad, we're in hell. That's the topmost devotee. One time the devotees said, the book distributors are saying this is the mood of the gopis in distributing books, trying to help people selflessly, and they shouldn't be saying that. And Prabhupada said, actually it is. So this is actually the mood. This is the very special contribution, the elucidation, the opening of this world of Vrindavan for Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, because the other sampradayas, even other Vaishnava sampradayas, they are more in this focus of going to Vaikuntha. But Lord Chaitanya said, Gopi Bhatu Padakamala Dasa Dasa Ona Das. And we read there that Sri Dhanardar is saying that the happiness of the gopis increases 10 million times when they serve when they're engaged in Krishna's service, Krishna's happiness, Radha Krishna's happiness. So that's considered the topmost, according to Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Now, as far as whether we should always hear these things, then no, we shouldn't. Because why? Because, we'll think of the Baba's wife called Radha, right? There's a Baba, we know the Baba, he has a wife called Radha. So we're going, Radhe, Radhe, and we think of the Baba's wife. It's a nice wife the Baba has, actually. So we're materially conditioned. How much can we understand this? Srila Bhaktivedanta Saraswati Thakur, he said that these and this is quoted by Sridhar Maharaj, so this is just, it's not just sometimes people present that this is some kind of a ISKCON mood or something, but Sridhar Maharaj, Bhaktivedanta Saraswati Thakur's disciple and Srila Prabhupada's godbrother and friend, in his book, which is Where Angels Fear to Tread, he writes there that Srila Bhaktivedanta would often say this, that those topics of the gopis, they're up there somewhere. They're up above our heads. We don't say they don't exist. We don't turn away from them. We don't say others, but we say, oh, they're up there somewhere. And maybe sometime in the future, due to some purification, what is that? Kabe Hamas Hirabo Sri Vrindavan. By some purification, we may understand something about that. But the idea is that we understand, in theory, and to some degree, we can understand. It's not about their form as women or whatever. It's about their mood. This is the important thing. What is their mood? They were prepared to go to hell for Krishna. Who is prepared to go to hell? Are we prepared to go to hell for Krishna? I don't know, to be honest. If we have so many bodily pains and things, and we're trying to, oh wow, I feel better today, my back's not hurting so much. Imagine purposely going and suffering extreme pain, but you were happy within your heart because Krishna is needed that, or it's Krishna's happiness. It's a very exalted, high level of devotion. That's the level of devotion that the gopis are exhibiting. So that's why. And recently I was listening to something about Raganuga Bhakti and things. The thing with Raganuga Bhakti is that it's explained in Nectar Devotion by Srila Prabhupada that the qualification is lobha, is great greed to have that relationship with Krishna. So until you have agreed to have a particular relationship with Krishna, until you're so attracted to be like a cowherd boy, it's like, wow, and like actual deep spiritual emotions come within your heart to serve Krishna as a cowherd boy or in the parental rasa or conjugal, then there's no question of Raganuga Bhakti. There's no question of meditating on these pastimes in that way. The Ragatmika devotees who are Mother Yashoda and Nanda Maharaj and these devotees, they're Ragatmika. Raganuga means a follower of those ones who actually have that attachment. So this is what Prabhupada is stressing on, that we can't imagine, even though the Acharyas will give that process, sometimes Bhaktivinoda Thakur gives that process, but that's for one who has already awakened their spiritual desire, not just like, I think I'd like to be a gopi, I think about, not like that, like there's a deep lobha, there's a deep greed for that particular relationship, therefore it can only happen, either when one is fully liberated or almost completely liberated from the relationships of this world, otherwise it can't happen. So this whole thing of just meditating on one's identity within the spiritual world, that only happens after liberation, because that can only happen when one has actually developed a particular attachment to a particular, and therefore Rupa Goswami says, once you have that attachment, I want to be a cowherd boy, not I want to be, but I am, I'm a cow, this is what I am, this is how I serve Krishna, I can understand now. Then you choose a particular associate who's in that relationship. But that's a very, very advanced stage, for most of us. Not that we should aspire to that, but what is the process? Nitya Siddha Krishna Prema Sadhya Kabhanai. Shravanadi Shuddha Chitte. We purify the heart by hearing and chanting. Then when that heart is purified, then we can actually see what is my relationship with Krishna. What type of relationship do we have? And then we can talk about Raganuga Bhakti, following in the footsteps, these kind of things. So that's the Acharyas are very careful on this point. They're not saying don't hear and don't understand about the gopis and Krishna and Mother Yashoda and all this. They're saying don't think that you can enter into that and pretend that you're a part of that until you're qualified. Is there any other question? Is that okay?
Yeah, thank you.
Any other question? We have 1 minute. Jai. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Hare Krishna. We have prasadam now. Hare Bol.